Howdy, y'all. My name is Scott. I'm the author of Rivet Stone, and I may be just some author, but let me tell you, I see a lot of questions kind of going about this sort of group of five, the band of five, and like what that means, and is it actually effective when it comes to writing your own novel? Now, for those who don't know, band of five is a very common motif where if you have a collection of not main protagonists, but main characters, that they all sort of have a particular role. You have your titular main protagonist, you have the Lance character, which is typically someone more antagonistic. It obviously can be like the main protagonist, but typically just has conflicting values or has something more generally negative. You have the muscle, who's the muscle, similar to the brain, which is typically the smarter one. Think of your scientists and sometimes your wizards. And then you have the heart, which is usually like, I think we all have like a sort of peacekeeping person in our friend group. The first type of person who would jump in between one another, be like, all right, guys, here, let's settle it. Let's calm down. Let's calm down for a second. Those sorts of people. And oftentimes, again, this is a very common trope, and I think using tropes is a very controversial thing. I think a lot of beginner writers will be drawn towards stereotypes or towards tropes, especially because it's very reflective of the own medium that got there in the first place. And even in my own on my second book on the Rivet Stone series, I'm actually utilizing a lot of these characteristics of the Band of Five. And in terms of a writing mechanism in order to how can an interesting group dynamic be kind of developed, it's fantastic because not saying you always need five people. It can be three people who kind of share and have different levels of these characteristics. Or if you do have five, they can have it in different ways. And, maybe what someone is street smart versus textbook smart. So you could have almost two brains. Or what's nice is that obviously these different characters, they give them a lot of opportunity to work off of one another, and that gives you even more opportunity to separate them in particular environments. So it's like, how does the heart and the lance interact or solve this problem together when they don't have these sort of other assisting characters and personalities to kind of fill some of the lacking characteristics that they have? And what's great is that it really gives you a lot of opportunity to focus on the differences between the members of the group, or even a lot of the things they have in common. Like, maybe at the end of the book, maybe the Lance is like, hey, you know what, kid? You're actually pretty cool, which I'm pretty sure is exactly like what Han Solo does. I feel like I reference him, or at least Star Wars, in almost every video at this rate. Like, it's getting a little suspicious, but I think the Band of Five is a great way to especially start off with writing a sort of like group protagonist, group adventure-esque characters. And should you do everything to a T, there's always adding variants and levels, but as a like foundational like starting block for developing characters and making an interesting story, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if you like what you saw, give me a like, give me a sub, and let's get published.